Hi guys, this is Breaker, and I am back with another replay from the front page of Drop.sc. Now, this is a disclaimer before we get, excuse me, not from the front page of Drop.sc, but rather cast it. This is a little disclaimer that I want to go ahead and throw out there right now. I've just decided that since there are so many casters on Cast It, if there's a replay of a player that I really want to cast, I'm just going to take it and give it another cast anyway. And I mean, there were already 3 comments in the, what do you call it? I'm sorry, there was already 3 replies to the original uploader of this replay on Cast It, and the whole reason why I decided to go and take this is because it's just one of my favorite players, but I'll get back to that with some fill-in time in just a moment. I'm going to give both players their intro. In the upper left-hand corner, spawning as our Terran in the red trunks, his name is Pyx, P-Y-X. And in the lower right-hand corner, my favorite American, American-born Chinese Zerg of all time, it is Suppy. Now, let me go and explain to you guys just why I decided to do this. I mean, I've been trying to get into Cast It a little bit more with time. But I mean, the thing is, if I catch a replay that really catches my interest, then I'll probably just go ahead and cast it again and see what I can do. I mean, I kind of consider it like, I guess you could say, casting homework, if you will, sharpening a saw that's got a chance of getting dull or rusty. And ultimately, just trying to keep myself in the loop, trying to keep myself as a part of the casting community on Reddit, that kind of thing. But this one, I guess this kind of sparked me to just say that much, because, of course, we're talking about Suppy. Now, what is so important about Suppy? Why do I like him? Because he's an American-born Chinese guy. He's ethnically Chinese, he speaks Chinese, but clearly when he speaks English, he has no accent, and he is American. If he doesn't have a green card, then he does in fact have a what's the word I'm looking for? He has U.S. citizenship, and one thing that I gotta say is that I love the trance music he listens to whenever he's streaming. And both players going for similar openings, that is to say, Expos first this time around on this map. But I myself, unlike Suppy, really love the drone scout. He's just gonna go at this blind for the time being. He did already send one overlord to the north, and he's gonna see that nothing's there, then pull it over here in this direction or so, I would imagine. But by process of elimination, Suppy will know that his opponent is not in the lower left in the near future, anyway. Pyx not at all concerned with scouting either, and this is one of those things that can make GSL quality games go ever so, what's the word I'm looking for? Ever so, how do I say this? Stalemating is the word that they use in Chinese, but when we translate it back into English, close. It can actually make it close at some points in the game. Like I remember it was Stefano versus, I think, MVP or Liquid Teja, some Korean. He was actually at the GSL for this one. Both players had gone blind in that game, and the map was Cloud Kingdom LE, or excuse me, Cloud Kingdom GSL edition. And I just thought that was so amazing that neither player, these players are like Code S in the GSL, and neither one of them sent, drone scouts out. Neither one of them even really scouted. Like, they had just gone at it entirely blind. I guess they were just like chill. They were like, it doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world if I lose this game. It's not the end of the world if I lose this tournament. That kind of thing. But very few players can go into a tournament that calm-headed. Nonetheless, Stefano did lose that game. And as long as we're talking about places in Asia, I mean, Suppy last year he went to the Battle.net World Championships in Shanghai. He did meet Max Said while he was there. He also met Calm. But of course, Calm was eliminated from the round of 32. He was the WCS 2012 China champion. He's never been to the GSL. But if I get started on this, I'm probably never going to shut up. So let's just try and hope for the time being that somewhere in the near future, we're going to see Pyx do something interesting. Okay, well, this is really interesting, as we do already see the factory is down with a reactor, and that means we're going to see Hellions going out to control the map, and Suppy's going to go ahead and get his third, while Pyx is about 60-70% of the way finished with his third orbital command. Meanwhile, Suppy is building up a Roach Warren. This could lead it to perhaps say what he had done at the last MLG. That is to say, versus CM Storm's Polt when he took game number 2. What he did was he had essentially like overpowered his entire main army into just 200 roaches, and then went busting down his opponent's natural. But let's just go ahead and see if that's going to be his aim or not. In fact, what I think, wow, this is actually painfully interesting right now. Pix does not know. He doesn't know where Suppy is yet. 7 minutes into the game, and we're still trying to have players figure out where they are. Alright, so Suppy's third is about to finish up, and the Hellions, there's going to be 4 of them ready to control creep and take everything down. And this is something you don't see all that often. We actually see a Banshee coming now into play. At least that's something I would have said maybe 2-3 weeks ago before the Hellbat nerf and the Banshee buff. That's something you don't see all that often. Roaches now making their way onto the field, really gonna put the hurt on those Hellions. But for the now and for the time being, it looks like there's almost nothing lost in the way of resources, save for 31 minerals and 2 units. I can't quite figure out what it would be aside from perhaps some larvae. Perhaps, just perhaps some larvae. Meanwhile, 6 more Hellions coming back where there were once 4. Getting some roasting done on some Zerglings. And now we have Pix basically throwing out his first Banshee. Making its way across the map. And Roaches are gonna tango with those Hellions. They're just basically here to control creep. They're keeping it from spreading. They're keeping the creep tumors from, you know, making their way across the map, perching themselves as they should. And ooh, what is this? What is this? Oh, the Banshee's gonna snipe that queen. That's kind of a little bit of a loss for Suppy, but at this rate, where we see Suppy right now is he doesn't have to worry about losing all of these drones, I think. Queen number 2 comes in, and the Banshee cloaks, and there's another one on the way, a second Banshee on the way, so this is looking to do a lot of damage to Suppy already, once you think about it, but the Spore Crawler finishes, thus forcing this Banshee to reveal. It does get a couple more kills. Now, do bear in mind that, oh my god, the Hellions are coming back in to roast it. This is something that is so Wings of Liberty style that I love it. It takes me back just a little bit. Ouch. The barbecue on the 3rd. Just 4 Hellions getting all but 2 drones, along with those 2 Banshees right there. I never would have imagined. So it's now no longer those overpowered Hellbat drops that we have to worry about, but rather the Banshees. Banshee's targeting down the hatchery, and looks like the Queen's gonna go back to a defensive position, at least somewhat for the time being. And Suppy is now in the mood for some retaliation for what just happened at Zone 30. He's gonna try and kill some workers, but unfortunately they've clicked on the mineral patch over here, and it looks like, oh my god, that was actually, oh no. If he could have made those Widow Mines connect with those Zerglings that were actually touching the SCVs, that would have been great. But this is such a clutch Overlord spreading creep right here. And the Banshee coming back is going to be able to, you know, take units down one at a time. But again, not really, I think, totally annihilate that army anytime soon. Meanwhile, back at home, it looks like we're going to have Suppy's Overlord get shooed out over there. And he actually doesn't know what kind of a composition his opponent is going for, definitively speaking, just yet. I mean, maybe he knows from the Widow Mines that his few Zerglings had blown up that he could be going Marine Marauder Mine. And that would be the right guess, I think. That's basically all we can do. I mean, we can only assume that Suppy knows that because he saw that Widow Mine earlier. So, because he saw that Widow Mine, he knows that his opponent's going to go Marine Marauder Mine. That kind of a, if you will, a burstable opening. However, the one way he can be certain right now is actually throwing an Overlord into his opponent's main. Perhaps he doesn't need to. It depends. He's got that game sense, you know? I mean, we're talking about a guy who is constantly in Grandmaster's top 8 on the North American ladder. But Pix himself, I'm not sure what position he is at on the GM ladder. And I am going to enjoy casting this one today, let me tell you. Alright, so here we go. I actually don't even know how long this replay is. I just kept my eyes open for that green spot on Drop Dead SC to hit the download button. And that was it. So now we got +2/+2 going down for both sides. Of course, for our blue Zerg, it will be finishing up faster. But of course, Pix is already getting his +2/+2. And his combat shields, Stim, Medevac's healing, and more infrastructure being tacked on in the main. I don't know, if we see Suppy take a 4th base, he's gonna, or excuse me, Suppy, wow. If we see Pix take a 4th base, he's gonna have to go ahead and start throwing some barracks out into the open. But of course, it looks like, you know, Suppy, I think he's using these Mutalisks somewhat transitionally. He could perhaps go for Broodlords in the late game, as we do see that he's going for his +1 attacks. But overall, those Mutas not doing quite too much damage. Pix now at 183 supply and moving out. Suppy's in a lot of trouble as he is supply blocked, and he doesn't quite have the number of units he's going to need to deal with that. But speaking of a number of units, there is a little bit of a run by that's going to go down over here. It's going to be able to take down the supply depots and all of that stuff, but really holding in the near future is going to be Suppy's biggest problem, because right now he's just got these Mutas over here and a handful of Lings and Banelings. Baneling's making some good connections, not the most clutch, but as long as those Widow Mines are not in range of attacking range of that hatchery, they're okay. Of course, they don't attack it, but then we'll see the Mutas be able to defend somewhat more viably. Marauders here getting surrounded, and it looks like that run by that Suppy so desperately wanted to make is now being conducted. Only 2 Lings going to work on that mineral line, but they're taking it down slowly but surely. But speaking of taking stuff down, holy hell! That hatchery is still just barely alive. And we see Suppy going into boss mode. No more Mr. Nice Chinese-American Zerg anymore. But he doesn't have enough units to hold here. It looks like just one tap from this round of Marines and Marauders can take it all down! Oh my god! The Widow Mine actually took down one full medevac right there. And now Suppy's actually still tearing up this mineral line with the same 2 Zerglings that have been there for the longest damn time. Look at that. Amazingly, to this point in the game, that 3rd is still alive. Still alive. Medevac lifting up all the bio on the ground, trying desperately to get out of there. And this reminds me so much of Quantic Kun versus CM Stormpult. Ian Storm versus Azubu Top. Excuse me, not Ian Storm, but Yo Iron Man Ian versus Azubu Top on this same exact map. And this is what makes it so thrilling. It's those clutch engagements that come so close to seeing both players just lose it all, or lose something that is close to losing it all. But now we have Suppy going for +2 flyer attacks, and he's going to swing his Mutas around into the natural of his opponent, taking down that missile turret, and now he's got uncontested hegemon over his opponent's mineral line. But just as I say that, we do see another Ling run by going in here, and it's just not going to be pretty for Pix. Look at this. Oh man, the Muta's coming back around, swinging around everywhere that they can. Wait a minute. Suppy's going around for another round, but I want to say that this could still go either way. I mean, really, look at Pix, look at Suppy. Oh man, just sending 2 Mutas over there, that's strange. It looks like they got cut off from the rest. But I mean, what's good for Suppy here is he's actually, sorry, I got just a little bit distracted by my Facebook Messenger on my iPhone. I didn't type anything, I was just looking. Cute girls, guys, cute girls. You want to talk to them, sorry, but yeah. So the 4th year is going to be delayed just a little bit, actually by as much as 60 seconds by that one Overlord spreading creep, and Suppy did just lose a good chunk of Mutas. His army kind of out of position, but he has vision of this entire force moving over here. Those Banelings were actually making pretty good connections, but the Marauders here, if they connect with the Marauders, it's not going to be good at all. Behind this, we actually have Pix going for +3/+3. What about Suppy? Does he have his even started? No, he doesn't, and he's going to be super behind when all of these upgrades go down. Oh man, he's chasing down all these medevacs though, and Suppy looks like he's going to be able to he shuts them all down, so now we have to see meticulously careful stims from Pix to really hold this off. 5th base now going down for Suppy as well. So, I mean, basically he's on 4 base income, kind of secured, but the natural's going to go dry pretty soon. So if he really wants to seal this deal that we call a game and make it a steal on the ladder, he's going to have to go ahead and throw down a 6th base in the near future somewhere else. One Ling actually blocking that orbital command with all those Marines right next to it. Kind of silly, but I think with all of these mutas going in, we could see a lot of damage done here by Suppy. Even with all those Marines, if they were just grouped up in the appropriate position, I don't think that would be enough. But speaking of enough, these Banelings, oh my god, one of them gets split away just the right way. But wait, what about this? Oh man. Oh, this is big. Suppy's got a lot of mutas here. If he loses, you know, he's got 30 of them. Oh my god, the Widow Mines! If he flies over just a pack of those Marines, that's a little bit too much. And now he's causing supply blocks at his opponent's 3rd, and that supply depot will fall, resulting in just, wow, a 28 supply lead by his opponent. He doesn't want that. He's actually in a really bad position as long as he has that, to be quite honest. So now Pix actually desperately trying to get unsupply blocked, but of course he does have the upgrades lead. Kind of just a little reminiscent of Lucifron versus Hyun, game number 2 at DreamHack Valencia, where we saw, you know, what we thought could be a nearly victorious Lucifron, just worn down to nothing but Marines and mines after Hyun. Excuse me, it was actually Hyun. Yes, Hyun. He failed to attack his opponent using everything that he had. I mean, he tried a roach opener, a very aggressive Quantic Hyun style roach opener, which is basically going to 28, no drones, double queens, and then throwing down the roach warren. But now Ultra's entering the mix for Suppy, and he's also getting the orange triple alignment, I guess you could say. By that I mean we're going to see the chitinous, the adrenal glands, the carapace. Wait, do we have adrenal glands? No, I don't think we even have it on the way. Oh man, Suppy, did you really forget the adrenal glands? Let's check that. No, he doesn't have adrenal glands. He doesn't even have it started. He's got the money for it, but he hasn't gotten it started just yet. And now it looks like we actually have Pix trying to do a double-pronged attack, sending a bunch of Marines over here, but the mutas are just too much for them to deal with. And ground armies are going to engage over here, but Suppy's actually supply blocked after losing quite a few overseers, and a slight misclick right here results in one Ultralisk kind of getting one-shotted. And speaking of one-shot, that lower left-hand hatch, I tell you what, if he can hold this, that'll be so clutch. It really will be. And now Suppy's basically dividing his mutas up here. Not really for fancy style, but rather moreover to prevent reinforcements, to get his opponent's economy down. And he's going to target down this orbital. Is he going to get it, though? Oh, man. It does lift off. It does fly away, but it's just not enough. And speaking of enough, I don't think Suppy has enough quite here to hold. Oh, my God. The Banelings are being taken down by such clutch Widow Mines. And all it took was a little bit of a kiting maneuver by those Marines on the ground. But, of course, we do have Suppy blocking off his opponent's expos time and again. Oh, no. A small regiment of bio just comes in, picks off that base, and runs away. It looks like we encountered some more network difficulties, and now Suppy is basically forcing himself to all in versus his opponent. Who could blame him with the position that he's in right now? Widow Mine's not quite making the most effective connections, but I think Suppy lost a good deal of mutas. No, he's still on a significantly high number, but mutas, infestors, and ultras, I don't think that's going to be quite viable versus this many Marines. I mean, yeah, the ultras, they're not affected by the concussive shells whatsoever. But at the same time, I feel that, you know, even I think the fungal growth nerf from Wings of Liberty to Heart of the Storm is actually what's going to make a huge difference here. Because as long as we see those Marines moving, as long as we see the Marines and the Marauders moving, we're going to see Suppy not quite... Oh, shit! Oh my god, those Widow Mines. Look at how many red health mutas there are here. If he flies over this group of Marines, he's gonna lose a chunk of them, I think. Like, no, it's no joke, but I mean, both players going at it from both ends, really. No other way to say it. Ultra's falling left and right, and there's no more fungal growth left on E.G. Suppy's forces. And, oh man, Suppy is just keeping himself back in this game. Suppy and Pix are just keeping at it in this game, really. I mean, Pix is in especially tight. He is in an especially tight position right now, as we do see that he's basically mined out on his third. He's oversaturated on this base over here. And ouch, Suppy keeps on coming so close to losing all those mutas. And he finally gets his lower left base back up and running, but it now seems that Pix is just going to assert his hegemony in the lower left of Suppy. As you can see, the fungals are not quite enough. The Baneling connection was kind of okay there, but now we're going to see just about everything here kind of die slowly but surely. The medevacs are being exhausted on their energy, and now it seems like, oh man, Suppy actually lost his third here. It's something that is more than, like, it's more than accurate to state that was not expected from anyone. I mean, considering the last bit of huge damage that went down for it was 20 minutes ago. Lower left is now in a huge chunk of danger, and speaking of chunks, these infestors are going to disappear from the unit composition from Suppy, as they are no longer usable. They have no energy left on them, so they can't even cast infested Terrans. They can't even throw those out. And now it looks like if we're going to see basically Suppy stand a chance in this game, he's going to have to take down this 9 o'clock-ish position base, if you will. Small sect of Marines and Marauders just kind of stemming up and moving in that direction. And now we see Suppy realize just what he has to do, and I don't think this orbital command is going to survive. No, it doesn't. What does Pix have left? He only has this upper right-hand corner base, so what can he do now with these two Marauders and Marines? They could probably target this down and get it, I'm not sure. But it really just depends on what we see in the near future. These Widow Mines got out of position, but of course the Drilling Claws means that we're not going to see too much damage done to them before they actually burrow. Suppy just having a handful of units left here. The Infestors only have enough for one fungal growth. Another one goes down. More of them actually just spawning with some pathogen glands instead of exhausting energy like those ones that were burrowed at the lower left over here a while back. Suppy, however, checking his units, lost his losses, his resources, everything. It's been so much higher than his opponent. Typically as Zerg, yes, it's supposed to be this way in the ZVT matchup, ZVP matchup. But if you check how many workers he's lost, the income right now, it's less than ideal, especially given the fact that Terrans can use and reuse their Widow Mines. Terran has the freedom to use his mules as he pleases. And now we're approaching the late game, where we see each player decide to maybe tech up into all air or something of that nature. And I don't think we're going to see Suppy make it to a far too healthy late game, as we do see he just lost his what appears to be 3 o'clock position base, and all these Marines and Marauders are just moving back towards home. Ouch, the mutas, that one once bustling huge chunk of 20-something mutas is now only reduced to 7 orange and red HP mutas. So it looks like Suppy is kind of on his last leg for the time being. He's got to realize, okay, wait, I got a mineral line over here I can fill up, that kind of thing. But instead he's still kind of distance mining with these workers. I think if he simply recorrects that, he'll be able to get his income to basically skyrocket, if nothing else but temporarily. And as long as we're on the topic of skyrocketing income, that is, it looks like 3,300, no, I'm sorry, 2,700 minerals that are going to come in for picks in the next 2 minutes or so. Suppy now moving across the map with 7 mutas. I don't know, it's so clutch. It's going to come down to that one engagement, that one big engagement. Who's going to win it, that kind of thing. But, of course, the medevacs here, very little in the way of units here. Widow Mines, there's 2 over here, and they're actually kind of misplaced, but so maybe this engagement will work out for Suppy just fine. But Suppy's got to be able to accurately benchmark what his opponent's doing, but this was rather unexpected. He's going to lose his lower left, I think. Oh my god! 28 HP! And the 9 o'clock position is saved as well. Pix trying to do whatever he can to buy his way back in this game, almost literally in the sense of mineral income. He's throwing down 400 minerals on getting up another command center for the time being. It could be floated down to this 3 o'clock position base and turned into an orbital command, or excuse me, a planetary fortress. But Suppy's already got a Zergling Brood there. He's ready for whatever may come his way. Suppy, I think, kind of reluctant to saturate this base, and I can see why. All it takes is about 2 shots, 3 shots from a Marauder, and it will actually take down this lower left-hand base. Interesting. I'm wondering how Pix just caught onto those Brood Banelings, but realistically, he just wanted to spread creep. I think we can all see that. Oh, but Baneling's getting thrown away on a Marauder. Still, it's nice to see him do backflips. I didn't know Marauders could fly. Alright, so now ship plating level 2 is on the way, which means we're going to eventually see a conversion into Sky Terran in the near future for Pix. And I want to see if we have the infrastructure to support that back home. I want to say that presently it looks like no, we do not. He's not thrown down those starports just yet. I think once he gets started on ship plating level 3, he'll do that. The reason why he's going for ship plating, not weapons, is because, of course, it affects everything that's mechanical. Everything that comes out of a factory and starport gives it an armor buff. And Pix looks like he's probably going to force Suppy to abandon ship here at this base. Oh man, but that's a golden fungal growth there by Suppy. It really is. And now it looks like with that, we'll see Suppy try to come off as an initiator of this engagement. And he's chasing back his opponent really far, but Pix is just keeping his income far too high. And with that, his production is skyrocketing to the extent that he's actually throwing down a medevac drop here just to click down that lower left-hand base and get out of there. Get the hell out of Dodge with those medevacs and the Marines inside. With that, he also forces a cancel on this other lower left-hand corner base, and we just have a crazy nuts back-and-forth game between my favorite player and a GM Terran. My favorite American player and the GM. But, wait a minute! Oh, man! Suppy kind of brings the supply to even, just about even. It was 156 to 156 for a moment, but there's no fungal growth here to stick all these Marines in place, and oh, and that means they're actually free to retreat. And I want to say that we can't actually see Pix run up here, and he's going to lose all the workers here. In fact, he did just lose all of them except for that one SCV who's like, oh, whatever. You were supposed to make me a Marine, not an SCV, so that I could just start killing all these Zerglings and Ultras around me. But now here we see the Infestors, the Ultras, trying to chase down everything here that's bio. A good chunk of it gets caught in one fungal growth, but not all of it. And Widowmines kind of, you know, just firing off their loads on all the Ultras that they can. Looks like this 3 o'clock position base has managed to stay alive, but the lower left, while being resurrected, is actually a threatened by all of these Marines and Marauders. The Lings will be re-rallied to deal with it. Not too big of a mistake, and now we finally see Suppy clearing it up. But the Widowmine here is going to burrow, and more reinforcements are coming back here. Suppy, to this stage in the game, has not gotten adrenal glands. And he's going to lose his lower left yet again. And this is actually the tilting point. As you can see right now, the army supply is actually going much more in favor of Pix, as you all can see. And Suppy just says at that point, great, GG. Okay, guys, so if you liked what you saw here today, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. This is Darth Breaker. I'll see you guys next time. Oh, by the way, it's actually just Breaker, not Darth Breaker. I made that up.